know of anyone with this next item we're bringing to you. Have you ever heard of atrial fibrillation? I haven't either.
Well, it's a serious heart condition that can increase your chances of getting a stroke.
Now, despite the fact that it affects all ethnic groups, a local charity is worried that the black community is being left behind when it comes to awareness and understanding of it. I'm very pleased to say that joining us on the programme this evening is Trudy Loban, who's MBE, CEO and founder of the Warwickshire-based charity, the AF Association. Good evening to you, Trudy. All being well, she will be there, but I think we've just had a little problem and we've just lost her. But we'll do our best to bring her back up. But we do have another guest, Tej. Where are we? Tej Adderley. Good evening to you, Tej. All being well, I can speak to you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? Good evening.
We were speaking to you in Florida, but you're from the Bahamas originally, and you have atrial fibrillation. Can you tell us a little bit about your condition and how were you diagnosed with it?
Yeah, I had it. I don't have it right now. I contracted it, I guess. I came down with it my last semester in college. It wasn't for any reason. I know usually it happens to older patients or people with heart conditions or like diabetes or high blood pressure, but I didn't get it for any reason. I was 23, so
wow.
It was really sporadic.
So you're very young, so not to have had it. Well, I'm going to keep you there for the minute, Tej, and bring in Trudy Loban and speak to her. We'll have both Joe and I speaking to you. But Trudy, welcome to the programme.
Hello, Trudy. Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. Trudy is Trudy Loban, MBE, is the CEO and founder of Warwickshire-based charity called the AF Association. That's Atrial Fibrillation Association. Thank you for joining us tonight. Both Nikki and I think we've only just come across this term. What exactly is atrial fibrillation?
Atrial fibrillation is the most common heart rhythm disorder, and it's the number one cause leading to stroke. In fact, if you have AF, it's 500,000 chance increase that you will go on to have an AF-related stroke, and AF-related strokes are one of the most devastating types of stroke you can have. And it's when the chambers, you have 4 chambers of the heart, and they're not beating in unison. So you have an irregular heart rhythm, and instead of the blood flowing in a rhythmic style through your heart and around the body, it quivers like a bag of worms.
Right.
And so little clots can form, which go on to cause a stroke.
And what sort of numbers of people suffer from this?
So far, in the UK, in England alone, 1 million people, and in the UK, 1.6 million people have been diagnosed with AF. But it's thought at least a third more of that number are walking around totally unaware that they have AF and are at risk of an AF-related stroke.
And what would the symptoms be?
Well, for some people, other than perhaps palpitations, they may not have any symptoms, and that's why it's important to understand and know your pulse, because that is the easiest way to detect an irregular heart rhythm. For others, they have pounding in their chest, palpitations, lightheadedness, a general feeling of unwell, and they can go to their doctor and the symptoms are picked up almost immediately. But it is important. We have a campaign about knowing your pulse and routine screening for AF, and you can go to knowyourpulse.org to find out 4 easy steps on taking your own pulse and helping to monitor your heart and to help your doctor as well.
And of course, it is quite serious because, as you say, it's one of the leading ways in which people can move on to getting a stroke.
Absolutely, and it's known that people that suffer an AF-related stroke is far more devastating and in many cases fatal when they have a stroke caused because of atrial fibrillation.
Just wait on there for us, Trudy, if you can.
Tej, thank you for holding on. Let me come back to you. You've probably been listening to Trudy and giving you some of the insight into it. For you, you said you were diagnosed with it at 23.
Yeah, I was 23
when some of those symptoms that Trudy's mentioned, were they things that you recognise now?
Yeah, I recognize it now, but at the time I really didn't know what I had. I thought I had a flu, actually. I thought I was coming down with a flu or something. When I described my symptoms, they thought I was like anemic or whatnot. They didn't know until they actually checked my they EKG'd me and checked my heart, and then that's when they discovered I had AFib. But I was just tired all the time. Sometimes I feel nauseous. Sometimes I just need to sit down because I was winded. So.
But how old are you now?
Right, I'm 28 right now. I was 23, about to turn 24 when I contracted it, or when I came down with it.
So that's 4.5, 5 years ago.
That's exactly about 4 years ago, yeah.
So anything now that's made you change your lifestyle in light of having AF?
I think, well, I'm more aware of my body and what's going on with it. In terms of having AF, I was a college basketball player. I was getting myself ready to have a career playing professional basketball, and I couldn't do it after that AF. But I'm pretty healthy right now. I'm just more aware of my body and taking care of it. I guess for when I get older, because I don't want the same type of thing to happen again when I get older. And my family's predisposed to high blood pressure too. I want to take care of myself. I don't want it to come back when I get older. It really wasn't any fun.
Is that likely, Trudy? As Joe and I were fascinated by hearing this and hearing Tej's story. Is it likely that it could come back?
Yes, it is. And the important thing is to be aware. And, for some people, the majority of people are over the age of 64 when they begin showing symptoms of AF. However, it can be as young or even younger than Tej. So it's really important that you get diagnosed, you're offered the most appropriate treatment for AF. And for some people, that's catheter ablation. For others, it's drugs. And most importantly, that you're also anticoagulated. Or if you can't have anticoagulation, then you can have a small device implanted, left atrial appendage it's called, so that it reduces your risk of a stroke.
And it's clearly treatable. Is it? Can you eradicate it once you've diagnosed?
For some people, if diagnosed early enough and it's appropriate for you, then yes, you can go on to have catheter ablation. And for some people, it's highly successful. For others, it's not. And the longer you live with AF before getting treatment, the harder it sometimes becomes to treat it. So it's a case of managing your AF.
Right.
But certainly, most importantly, is getting that diagnosis, because if not, you're at such high risk. And there are doctors, you see a cardiologist, but what you need to do with AF is see a cardiologist with a special interest in heart rhythm, and that's an electrophysiologist. It's a bit like seeing the plumber or the electrician, and AF is an electrical problem with the heart, so you want to make sure you see the cardiologist with an interest in the electrical side.
Now, I went to a conference...
And for all this information, you can go to www.afa.org.uk, our website, and there's also a 24-hour helpline, so that we can help people, to identify, to manage, and to signpost them to experts if necessary.
Just a couple of other questions before we let you go. I went to a conference this past week which was dealing with another health issue, prostate cancer to be specific, and there we were talking about black men being up to 3 or more times more likely than white men to have that problem. Are there any ethnic-specific issues with AF?
At the most, they're still trying to diagnose the number of people. It's increased. It used to be prevalence of 0.9%. That's now increased to 1.9%. At the moment, we just know that you're at high risk, certainly by the age of 64, 1 in 4 chance.
Irrespective of what ethnicity you are.
Irrespective, yes. But their studies are ongoing to delve deeper.
Give us that web address again that you gave a while ago.
www.afa.org.uk. It's Atrial Fibrillation Association. FA.
All right, thank you so much. Very serious matter, and I'm very pleased that you have been able to bring it to our attention. Our thanks also to Tej.
Before we do let Tej go, Tej, just only a quick one. You wanted to be a professional basketball player, got struck with AF at 23. What are you currently doing 4 or 5 years on?
Well, I went back home. I went to college in the United States. I came back home to the Bahamas. I'm working and going to grad school right now.
Oh, well done. So you've got your life back on track despite having that.
Oh, definitely. I'm nowhere near as athletic as I was in college, but I work out a lot. I play sports. I'm in pretty good shape, to say the least. So I managed to get myself together. What the doctors told me was that because it was a hybrid Maze procedure. It was like an experimental surgery. I had it in Florida. But what they told me was that because I had it so young, I was better able to recover than an older patient would have been. So.
Well, it's wonderful to hear that you have recovered and that you're getting your life back on track. So we really do appreciate you speaking to us this evening. All the best for the Christmas and New Year, Tej.
Oh, thank you very much. You too.
Bless you. And also we pass on season greetings to you as well, Trudy Loban, for speaking to us.
Thank you very much indeed.
Happy Christmas to you. Well, look at that, hey, Joe. Fascinating to hear about that. I wasn't expecting 64 plus, and the fact that there's no real symptoms that you could pinpoint.
And it's interesting, well, the palpitations, I suppose, irregular heartbeat is one, and some sort of bloated stomach or something.
You see, most people just say, it's up and down to wind, wash out.
Tej thought he was getting the flu. So obviously quite a serious issue here. And 1.6 million people in the UK who have been diagnosed. And I think that, according to what we're just hearing there, that may be under-diagnosis as well. So if you're having those kind of symptoms, then go tell the doctor. And of course, what we find a number of cases with these kind of semi-rare issues, health issues, that some GPs aren't up to speed on some of them. So you may have to say, can you screen for AF?
Yes, very much. So we really would appreciate you getting in touch with us this evening. The number that you can use is 08453 009956, 08453 009956. We'd love to hear your thoughts on hearing about atrial fibrillation, but on anything else that you'd like to share with us this evening.